Hi, welcome to Victoria Knits. I'm Victoria, and the introduction picture was me with my cat Felix, one of our 3 cats. He loves catching a ride in the garden. If I happen to be out, he loves to beg for a ride, and I'll pick him up, and he'll snuggle really well with me as I carry him around on my shoulder. He's always done that, and he's a very sweet cat. Today is June 15th. It's Wednesday. I'm outside a few miles from our house. This is where we usually come to cut our Christmas tree. It hasn't reached 60 degrees yet today, and it's been a very wet, chilly spring here so far. I haven't talked about the craft group I go to. There is a craft group here, and I haven't talked about it much because no one there is very interested in anything that goes on the internet. But when Pirjo joined our craft group, she's the only other knitter so far, the other major knitter. The others mostly make cards. I asked her if she would agree to be on my podcast, and she said yes, she would. So I was thrilled to hear that. Our craft group meets just once a month. Even though most of us are retired, we're still pretty busy, so we meet once a month, but it is a 5-hour craft session. We all bring snacks and music, and we sit around and chit-chat, and I find it a lot of fun. But Pirjo was nice enough to allow me to have her on my podcast, so allow me to introduce her. Okay, goodbye, Bruce. Hi, I am here with my friend Pirjo. Pirjo and I met at a craft group that we go to together, and she was the only other knitter. The other women all make cards, and Pirjo and I would sit next to each other, and we struck up a nice friendship. So I thought what was really sweet was she agreed to be on my podcast. And Pirjo has talked a little bit about her knitting life. She's an excellent knitter, and I'm going to let her talk about it. Her name is Pirjo, and I will put the spelling across the bottom of the screen because unless you're from Finland, you would probably never guess how to spell her name. Right. And how do you pronounce it?
Pirjo. Pirjo.
Pirjo?
Yeah.
Nah, not quite.
Not quite. Yeah, it's a very common name over in Finland, especially somebody my age. You know, it's not so common now, but there was a bunch of us on the boat going to Australia that were named Pirjo.
Wow. And it's so uncommon to hear here.
Yes, I've run across a few people, but not very many.
I bet.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pirjo. You just don't hear that very often.
I don't know that it's got any meaning or anything that I know of. You know, it's just my parents it's all P's in my family. So
that's interesting.
Since I was the oldest, I guess they started with me, so.
Huh. Well, it's a great name.
Oh, thanks. People don't remember it though, a lot of them.
Oh, I bet they don't.
Yeah, and they say it all different kinds of ways, and especially when I had my other last name, you know, it was Uusitalo, which is very common in Finland, but nobody can say it here, which means Uusi is talo is house. I mean new, and then talo is house, so it's a new house. That's what it means. So, but I haven't gone by that name in over 50 years, so.
Wow. So you have told us at group that that you learned to knit in school, and that was typical.
Yes, very typical. You get to we started school at 7, and I think it was around 8, so it must be like 2nd grade. They have you, they teach you how to knit and crochet and all that stuff, and even the boys did it. So the first thing we did was a scarf. You know, we just used ends of, you know, little spools, so it was multicolored and all that stuff. So, yeah.
At 7 years old in school.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So, and my mother, she was a real knitter and crocheter and sewer and all that stuff too, so she taught me a lot of the stuff too. So
that's pretty nice.
But yeah, in school they teach you all that stuff, and then when I went to Australia, they also had in the high school they had a whole like 6 months course where you learned all that stuff, and plus all kinds of handwork, cut work, and all kinds of things that were English actually, and so embroidery, hand embroidery, and all kinds of things like that. So yeah, I had fun with that class. Cooking was another story, but but the sewing and the knitting and all that stuff was great. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it could definitely be required for all schools, and I think they would appreciate more of the handwork if they had to try it themselves.
Right. I think so too. It's too bad they don't have it here in schools,
Mm-hmm. So. Yes, it is. So I took some pictures of Pirjo's, what do you call it? Your sewing room?
That's what I call it.
And I'm going to insert them. Yeah, I think my eyes really bugged out when I saw that space. It's a beautiful space. How many square feet?
750, I think.
750 square feet in her sewing room. How many looms do you have?
I have, well, at this point, I think I've got 4.
4?
Yeah, one big one, a medium size, and then the little ones. I have a beading loom and a inkle loom. So.
And sewing machines?
Probably about 8, at least, I think.
It looks like she's setting up for class.
Right.
in her sewing room. It's enough space to have a class in.
Yeah, it is.
That's really nice.
Yeah, I love my commercial sewing machines too, so I didn't want to get rid of them after I got done sewing commercially, so because they just do such a nice job. So
I have no idea. I've never learned to sew, so
yeah.
But I can imagine. I love your space up there.
Yeah, me too.
That is really special. That's just so nice.
Yeah, and I now got more room now that we cleared stuff out.
Did you get rid of some stuff?
11 boxes worth.
11 boxes of material, right?
Fabric mostly.
Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So. Yep, I only got 5 boxes of flannel left.
That might get Bruce enough shirts.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's got a lifetime there.
That's really nice.
As long as we both live to ripe old age.
I have yet to knit Kim a sweater. I keep thinking I need to do that, and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, well, Bruce hasn't gotten too many things here lately. I did knit him a few hats and gloves, but I haven't done a sweater for him, I don't think, ever. There was a period there that I didn't get a lot of knitting done.
Yeah.
With the raising the kids and all that. It was just too hectic.
Yeah. Young mothers with kids at home.
Right.
That's a tough one. You and I are lucky because we're retired and we can spend all day in our knitting rooms if we feel like it. Nobody's really going to notice.
Yeah, I did do a lot of sewing at the time, for the kids and stuff, but not so much knitting. I did do some doilies. I have knitted doilies and stuff like that. So.
And what are you working on over here?
I'm working on these pot holders.
Oh yeah, this is part of what made me want to talk to Pirjo on our podcast, because of these gorgeous pot holders. She made everyone in the craft group 2 of them.
Right.
And they're crocheted.
Yep.
They feel wonderful.
Yeah,
so
and it depends on the thickness on the yarn too, because this one's a little thicker, I think.
Can you talk about the pattern or?
Sure. So it's really easy to do, actually. If you know how to knit, you do a chain. I do about 45 stitches, but it depends on the size you want. I've done some bigger ones and not smaller ones. So you chain 45 loops on, and then you start crocheting on the second loop, just single crochet, just all the way around, and you do that on both sides of the loop. And when you get to the end, both ends, you just do a couple stitches, and then you don't turn your work or anything, you just keep crocheting. Just keep going around and around, and I've got here, let's see, where to go. Here is one that's partly done.
Oh, that's pretty too.
Yeah, so you just keep going around. This is the right side on this side.
Okay.
And then when you get done with your first pass all the way around your chain, then you start on the next round. You just do it on the back loop of the single crochet. And just keep going around and around and around and around until you get to about this point here. And your stuff looks like this. So, and then you do about 19 rounds or so. I just eyeball it mostly.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Right.
Here, let me show that. Yeah, so she has it like this. She's been going round and round.
Right.
Round and round.
Round and round, round and round.
No, I don't crochet.
Right.
And then you fold it.
Right.
And that's what causes that.
Yep. And then I just crochet it shut with like half.
What a great
crochet.
idea.
Yeah, it's really nice.
This is really nice. They're so thick. And you're using
Cotton yarn.
cotton yarn.
Yeah, it doesn't work too well with acrylic
Yeah,
because
I'm sure,
it just,
yeah.
My mother used to make them out of acrylic. It just didn't work so well. You know, your heat comes through where it doesn't really come through these.
This would be really pretty for Christmas.
Yeah, that's
Who's
what
this
it's
for?
I don't know.
Oh, you just
I just make them and just give them away,
stuff.
you know.
That's really clever. Where'd you get the pattern?
I think my mother gave it to me. She was making them, and she must have got it from somewhere. I don't know where.
That is so clever.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
That's very nice.
So then you just, I just do a little loop at the end for if you want to hang them up.
I can do that.
Right, right. And then I just crochet the two sides together with like a half crochet, and just go all the way down through the center. And
Well, they are very nice.
Yeah, they're pretty clever.
I love the ones you gave me. I love the color. Very pretty.
Yeah, so I like to use variegated yarn because it's less boring.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I totally get that.
So, I have some plain stuff, but I don't really use it that much. But so yeah, it's pretty simple. Doesn't take any brain power really once you know how to do them.
Sometimes those are the best projects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like to do projects now and then that don't take any power,
You can
any
almost
brain power.
close your eyes and just, have at it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, those are nice.
Yep.
But these are, it feels good to make something so useful, isn't it? Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, I usually take some, if I'm going somewhere to visit somebody or something, I take them.
That's a great idea, because who can't use them?
Right.
Pot holders, everybody can. I mean,
Yeah.
they get dirty and,
Right.
I don't know, stuff happens to them. I don't know what's happened to ours.
Right.
But I bought a couple new ones, and they're all ugly now, and even
Right.
after I wash them,
Right.
I'm like, oh, can't wait to
Yeah.
use these, but I saved them for this podcast.
Right.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah. Some people, my daughter does these too, but she just takes the thread and weaves it with a needle, But I just
gotcha.
crochet because I don't like doing the ends.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So, I try
And
to.
it makes a nice
It
ridge. It's
it
nice.
flattens out eventually, and stuff.
Oh,
and
it's
so,
fine.
Yeah.
I think it just adds a little interest to it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yep. So. Anyway.
All right, what else you got over there to show us? A shawl.
Yeah, shawl here.
Do you know the pattern of this?
Oh, I have it somewhere. I don't remember.
Okay. Good grief. I'm gonna take better pictures of this.
Okay.
But look at the work on that. What is this, lace weight?
It's lace weight, yeah. It's a wool lace weight.
Oh, it's
Wool
beautiful.
and silk or something, I'm not sure.
That's a lot of lace work.
Yeah.
But that's gorgeous.
Yeah. I should have brought some of my doilies down, but I didn't. Yeah.
That lace weight stuff's hard to work with,
It is.
in my opinion.
Yeah. And I find it really hard now with the darker colors to work with
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little meme going around about, let's see, I can't remember how it goes, but one of them was, I charge $40 an hour for knitting, and then if you say, oh, I can buy that for $20, then it's up to $80 an hour.
Right.
If you want it done with black yarn, it's $100 an hour, stuff like that. It's like, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
understand that. Boy,
Absolutely.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
The black or dark color, so I probably would never do another one with that color.
That's really gorgeous,
So,
though.
but anyway, it was I like doing lace actually, because it's more interesting.
Yes,
But
I agree. I just finished a wrap that I'm going to talk about on the podcast that I thought I was going to have to pull all my hair out over.
right.
But while I was knitting it, you know, it was one of those patterns that I had to have a safety line in, the lifeline, whatever you want to call it. And Kim's comment was actually, and I was going on, I read him one of the rows,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all the, you know, yarn overs and
Right.
Yarn over, slip this, pass this over, do this so many times, and then do this, and then do this. And it's like, oh my gosh. And Kim was like, well, you know, sometimes I suppose designers just want you to keep from getting bored. And I thought, shoot, you're probably exactly right.
Right.
And then I did a really boring small shawl afterwards, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know,
Right.
I get it. I do like to listen to books on tape or music or watch TV while I knit. But with that one wrap, I could do none of that.
Right.
I had to actually talk myself through every row and say the stitch out loud as I'm knitting in order. And then I moved my lifeline every 2 rows. That's how bad it was for me.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I hate till you go all the way around and you find out you had made a mistake.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Then unraveling lace is a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, because you can't just rip it out.
No,
Yeah.
not with lace weight
No,
yarn.
no.
That's a whole nother story. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I knitted this sweater.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
I
and I
didn't know
dyed
that.
the yarn.
You dyed the yarn too?
Yep.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, and the reason why it's
Really
impressed. 2 colors is because I dyed so much, and then I found out I didn't have enough, so then I did another batch, and it turned out darker.
I totally get it, but it looks like you did that on purpose. So
Right.
what did you use to dye? Did you use acid dyes?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so,
And it fits you really well.
yeah, it's one of the ones that actually, most of my stuff is kind of big on me.
That's very impressive.
Yeah,
I've knit a lot of sweaters, but I don't think I could say any of them look quite that good.
Yeah,
Seriously.
So I like doing cables too.
Yeah.
I actually didn't learn cables until maybe my friend said, "Oh, you can do cables, no problem." But I never attempted it, and then she showed me, and so maybe in the last 15 years or something.
Oh, yeah. I went to a knitting group when I was still living in Boise. The knitting group was actually in Kuna with my friend Carol, and I didn't know how to do cables then either, and that's only been like 6 years ago or something, and probably longer than that, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
But one of the people in the group said, "You haven't done cables, they're so easy." And then once they show you, you're like, yeah, they're so easy.
Yeah.
What was I worried about?
I know.
And they're so impressive looking.
Yes. they
That
are.
looks store-bought.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a gorgeous sweater. I really
Yeah,
like
it was fun to make,
Nice
actually.
job.
So, yep. But yeah, a lot of the names of stitches I don't really know, and I only learned to read patterns in the last maybe 15 years because I just
wow.
made them up or looked at something like my mother did, and she'd go to the store and see somebody with a crocheted yoke or something. She'd go home and do it, and basically it's what I used to do too. So.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe that comes from learning to knit and crochet when you're 7, but I'm not convinced of that. I can't do that kind of thing. It's pattern for me, or it's,
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mostly use nowadays, but
Yeah.
I can do them from scratch too. So just like my sewing, I can adjust the patterns no problems, and or just make it up, and stuff. So
Yeah, I think that's a whole different level of thinking things through, and I don't have that.
I'm sure you do.
I don't know.
So yeah.
If I have it, I haven't accessed it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but so it was a new learning thing for me to read patterns, and I'm going, what are they talking about here, and I can't figure it out.
What is this stitch they're trying to get me to make? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and
When you'd probably already done it and just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Just didn't recognize the stitch. That's a gorgeous sweater.
That's, my friend was, that's so-and-so stitch. I said, okay, you know.
Yeah.
So, but finish. A lot of Finns do, they don't do it as much now as far as knitting and crocheting and all that and weaving as they used to, which is unfortunate, but there are still some doing that. So.
Yeah, I hope, from the people I follow in social media, knitting is very, very popular, knitting and crochet
right now,
and all the handwork. It seems popular now. And I don't know if it's just because, that's what I'm looking for, but I hope
think
that
it's
kind of
picked
stuff's
up.
Coming back.
Yeah, I think it's picked up. There for a while there wasn't much.
Yeah.
So,
it is such a satisfactory hobby or whatever you want to call it to me. I really enjoy doing it.
Yep, me too.
I can sit in it for a long time.
Right.
Way too long.
Uh-huh.
According to my husband, way too long.
Yeah, well, it's true.
I will almost skip a meal to continue.
Right. Uh-huh. And I really like knitting Fair Isle a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I really like that.
I do too. I love color work.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
End result.
Right.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very impressive looking.
Yes, I really like that. It's fun.
I think my hardest part is deciding what to knit next because there's so many options. There's so many things I want to do, and I just feel like I'll never get everything done, and I'm sure I won't. But yeah, it's tough to make those set those priorities.
Right.
Figure out what they are.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you being on my podcast.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been really nice. I loved seeing your sewing room, of course. And now I know who to come to if I have a problem with any handcraft. Good grief.
Right. Well, I'm sure you don't have any issues, I'm sure.
Don't have any issues. Yeah, I got plenty of issues.
Yeah.
And issues with knitting too. People think I'm probably a better knitter than I really am. But it's okay. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
As far as knitting goes, it's
So how long you been knitting?
I learned. I did a little tiny bit of knitting when I was in college, so that would be in the early '70s, and then or mid '70s, and then my friend Carol taught me.
Logging truck.
Yeah, logging truck. My friend Carol helped me relearn how to knit, and so it's probably been 12 years or so that I've been knitting. And she's a really good knitter. She's like you. She can look at something and kind of start forming a pattern in her head and say, I think I could do that, or look at a pattern and say, I think I could do that. I can figure out how to do that easier than they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's something I don't quite have.
Right. And I don't use the little, what do they call the markers, or what do they call them?
The gauges?
Well, no, the little round things, I forgot what they call that now.
Row counters?
Yeah, I don't use those. I don't use the little things to keep track of your pattern or anything like that. I just knit around and know where I am and everything.
Oh.
I have some of those little round things, the little plastic things, round things. Forgot what they call them.
Counters. I think they're just little counters. Yeah, row counters.
And no, I don't use those because they're annoying.
I tell you what I use is called pencil and paper. And and so, you've seen my notes.
Right. Yeah.
I end up with crazy notes on my patterns.
Right.
So it's a good idea for me not to go back and try to redo that because I'm going to be going, what the heck was I doing?
Right. Yeah. So if I need to mark something, I just put a little bit of yarn there and that's it, But most of the time I don't even keep track of that. I just know when I go around and that's just where I change, or whatever. So, yeah. So, but I know a lot of people use those things, which is fine, they're just annoying to me, so I don't use them.
Yeah, I totally get that.
So, but
Do you do any magic loop?
oh, I tried that.
I have not even tried it.
I tried it on a
doesn't appeal
pair.
to me.
I tried it. I thought, well, they keep talking about this, and so
Mhm.
I never, heard of it until a few years ago, of course. And I tried it on a pair of socks. I decided that was really, I mean, I could do it.
Mhm.
I mean, I did most of the one sock. The other one, I just knitted regular.
Deep ends.
Yeah,
I like my double points.
yeah,
I
did
do.
too.
I just like them. I'm accustomed to them.
Mm-hmm.
And for magic loop, I would have to order more needles. And it's
Right.
like, why would I want
Right.
to do that?
Yeah,
Just to see if maybe I liked it. I don't,
yeah,
I have to order enough needles as it is for different, the occasional project. Most of them I have covered now, but
mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't need.
Yeah, I've got tons of knitting needles, but
Yeah.
people keep me stuff all the time. Well, would you like to have this? And I do have, years ago, when we moved to Whidbey Island, Bruce didn't have any work, and so there was this place called Help House, and people call for like day jobs that you could do, so they sent him to this guy, and his wife had died, and so for some of his pay, besides they paid him some, I got all these knitting needles, crochet hooks, and that this lady had, which was a real find,
I bet.
There's real tiny ones in there, and I still have them and
Nice.
stuff, and so that was really a nice blessing there.
That is nice. Yeah.
So, but I know some people have major yarn stashes, which I've got my share. But we went to a garage sale one time years ago, and the wife had died, and the husband was trying to sell all this stuff, and whole garage, all the walls had these shelves on all sides. Any kind of yarn you wanted.
Oh my word!
Never seen that much.
Wow.
Other than yarn store.
Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? I'm sure some people are doing that.
Have their stash,
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, people look at my yarn and say, "Oh, you have a lot of yarn," and I look at it and go, "Well, yeah, it doesn't keep me from buying more."
Right. Yeah, try not to buy anymore, but there's so much good yarn out there.
There is a lot of good yarn out there. A lot of gorgeous yarn out
Yes, very nice.
there. That's for sure.
So
Very
yeah.
tempting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Pirjo.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll never be able to get your name right.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Nobody else can either,
Okay.
unless they're a Finn.
Yeah. Unless you're from Finland, you're not going to do that, right?
Right. Yeah, or German or something,
Yeah.
because they roll their R's too.
Mhm.
So.
I can't
Yeah.
do that.
Right.
I've never been able to do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But thank you for being on my podcast.
Sure.
I really appreciate it.
Yes. I'm glad to be here too. So it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, good. All right. So on my last episode, I said I was going to finish my chrysalis wrap. Well, I did. It's finished. And I'll talk about each section. Section 1, pretty simple. Pretty pattern. I like the stitch. It went pretty easily. Section 2, also pretty pattern, went pretty easily. It was section 3 that I first messed up on and ended up having to pull it out and completely start the wrap over, which you've all heard about. And then section 4 and 5, yeah, I know during my knitting, I normally will listen to a book, or at least music, or even watch TV. But during the last 2 sections of this wrap, I could not do any of those things. I was basically saying the stitches out loud as I knit them, because the rows took that much focus and concentration for me. I did finish it. I'm not going to say that there isn't a mistake or two in it, because I know there is. But I was really happy with the way it finished up. I'm glad I got it done, and I'm glad I persevered with it. even though I may have complained a lot. It's a very pretty wrap. Now you can compare that to the Raina shawl, which I recently knit. Very simple shawl. Very repetitious, nothing complicated. I had this shawl started about 1.5 years ago with this same yarn, ended up making a mistake on it and frogged the whole thing. I can't figure that out either. This is a very simple shawl to knit. Perfect for beginners. If you have enough yarn, you could keep going. You could stripe it. You could do lots of different stuff with it. It's very pretty. You can watch TV while you knit with this. I was complaining to Kim about the Raina, or not the Raina, but the Chrysalis wrap and some of those rows on there, and I was reading them off to him so he would understand how complicated they were. And his comment was actually, well, maybe the designer doesn't want you to get bored. And I thought, that's an excellent point. You're absolutely right. Because after I finished the Chrysalis wrap and started on the Raina shawl, it was like, yeah, I get that. I do get that. Sometimes you need something complicated and sometimes you need something simple. And after the Chrysalis wrap, I felt like I needed even more simple things to knit. So I knit this Step It Up shawl. I believe that's the name of it. Yes, a Step It Up shawl. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I will put the yarn name on the bottom. Now, I used one of those rolls, so I did not quite have enough yarn that the pattern calls for, but I still like the way it turned out. Since it's knit with worsted weight, it's a thicker shawl, and to me this kind of feels like a scarf more than a shawl. But I think it's really pretty. I like the colors. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this either. The Raina shawl I finished, and I'm not sure what I plan on doing with that. If I'll keep it or if I'll gift it. And I'm not sure about this either. But I liked it. I saw this on Linda at Joey Scarf. Hi, Linda. She knit this. She also has recently knit the Raina shawl. Lots of people have knit the Raina shawl. It's quite popular. But I enjoyed this one. More mindless knitting is what I needed after the Chrysalis wrap, and this helped. And I had started on my 3rd flax light in the last episode, and I've gotten quite a bit further with it. The body's finished. I just need to work on the sleeves. The first color is Pink Lemonade by Big Sky Yarn Company. This one is Neon Blast by Efranin. Yeah, Efranin. This one is Pinched by Hannah Made It. And this is Summer Storm by Polka Dot Sheep. I think it's going to be really pretty. As usual, I'm in love with my flax light. This is the one I'm making in the size large. I've tried it on and it fits just fine. It's very comfy, and I think it'll be just great. And I'm really looking forward to getting this finished for this winter. And when I finished my Chrysalis wrap, I had quite a bit of that yarn left over, which is Spring Prairie by Polka Dot Sheep. So I decided to do a pair of socks for myself. Aren't those lovely? This is, the pattern is House Targaryen Socks by Avalanche Designs. It's a free pattern. And I decided to put a bright daffodil colored heels, toes, and cuff in it. It's pooling, the yarn's pooling quite a bit, but I don't mind. I think it makes it really interesting, and I love the pattern. And it's really simple. It's like a 4-row pattern, and the 4 or 5 rows, I think it's 5 now that I'm thinking about it, and the just 1 row of the pattern is a little fidgety, nothing complicated, but you do have to knit 3 stitches together twice. But anyway, if you look at the pattern, she gives great instructions on how to do that. And I'm loving these socks. I think they're gorgeous. Really pretty. And as I said, Britt's been staying with us for a little while on and off as he does his mushroom hunting. We did take a couple of day trips together. We went to Glacier, which you saw in my last podcast, in my last episode. And then a week or so ago, we decided to visit the National Bison Range, which I had talked about in episode 21. So I'll show you some video of that trip. National Bison Range is about 2-hour drive from our house. It's gorgeous there. There's 18,000 acres in that range, and they support from about 300 to 500 bison. Besides the bison, we saw elk, deer, antelope, and even a bear, which ran away really quickly. This mother antelope had 2 babies in the grass there with her. Bison are big, fast, and very agile. So you are expected to stay in your car except for a couple of designated small places where you can hike. We even got to see a few baby bison. And the range is right near the Mission Mountains, which are just beautiful right now. And I have shown this on my Instagram account, if you've been watching that, which that reminds me, by the way, on Instagram I am Victoria Jean W, and on Ravelry I am Victoria Jean, and I also have a Ravelry podcast group, Victoria Knits, so you can find me at all those places. But Linda at Joey's Scarf is hosting a summer top make along, and I knit this for it, and I would have it on today, but it's not warm enough out. It's finally warming up a little. The sun's starting to come out, but it might have finally hit 60 degrees. So although this looks like it might be warm, it's not that warm. But anyway, I picked up some Caron yarn in blue mint colorway, and I combined it with a fingering yarn I got from Cappy at the Yarn and I, which she had on sale, and I think it matched perfectly, and it really makes the top look really pretty. I think I really like the way it turned out. And then I added a little bit of purple onto the edge of the sleeve, and then a little more of Cappy's yarn there to make it contrast a little better and stand out a little more. I really like the way that turned out. This pattern was a challenge for me. Britt has been staying with us for a while as he does his mushroom hunting in the area, and Kim, and I looked at this. I was looking at patterns because I wanted to knit along with Linda's make along on her little summer top thing. And so I got Cappy's yarn in the mail, and then Britt and I had a town day planned. So I went to Joann's and I picked up this Karen yarn because the pattern calls for Aran weight, I think, but I figured it'd be close enough with that Karen yarn, and if I added some fingering to it. And I thought, well, I'll just use the fingering until I run out of it, which I did down here. But I don't think it matters. I think it looks really nice. The thing with this pattern was, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, it's all charts. It's all charted, and I'm okay with charts, but what I do with charts is I write them out line by line. I know that's insane, but that's how I like to do it. So I was looking at this, and it's called a wave. They call it a wave pattern, and you can see why. But I started knitting on it, and the net called for you to cast on 83 stitches or 93, something like that. It was way too big. After I got it down to where you divided for the sleeves, I tried it on, and it just fell off my shoulders. So I'm like, okay, well that's not going to work. So then I went back, restarted it, and cast on quite a bit fewer stitches, probably a few less than probably would have been best for a summer top, but I don't like my tops very open, so I'm kind of a modest person. I don't know why, but anyway, and so it works. I could even, this might be something I'll wear more in spring and in fall than summer. I'm not sure when we're going to finally see some summer around here. It's hardly gotten over 70 degrees here so far, but it's coming. It'll come. But so the pattern kind of threw me for a while, and I was like, oh, I'm not getting this. I don't know if I understand what's going on here. But and Kim and Britt were kind of like, well, maybe you ought to try a different pattern. And I'm like, no, I really like this one. I am going to get this figured out. A few people have knit this, and they rated the pattern as pretty easy. So I thought, I've got to be able to get this, and I did, and I was really glad I did. It really gives you a feeling of accomplishment when you start out with something and you're like, I'm not sure I can do this, and then you realize, yes, I can, and yes, I did. So I do really like it, and I'm glad I did it. After the Bison range, we went to the Ewam and Garden of 1,000 Buddhas, which is not well advertised around here, and there's no sign for it, but it was lovely. Their website states, the purpose of the garden is to bring about positive transformation within those who visit in response to the negativity that abounds in the world today. 1,000 Buddha statues array around the central figure of the Great Mother, the manifestation of the perfection of wisdom. 1,000 stupas, representations of the enlightened mind, line the outer circle. Each enshrine an image of the female deity Tara. And I did want to show you, I have been making some progress on that baby blanket, the double knit heart reversible baby blanket for my newest upcoming grandson, who shall be born in about 2-3 weeks. Anyway, yeah, making some progress. And I forgot to show you that yes, it is two-sided. I still have some ends to weave in, but yeah, it's double-sided. It's very cool the way you do it. You see both colors of yarn across the top in stitches. When you want this square to be white, you knit the white stitches, and when you hit the purple stitches, you purl them, and then they show up as knits on the other side. It's very clever, and it's really easy to do. So if you see something that is double knit, I would definitely give it a try, and don't let that scare you at all. I'm liking the way this has turned out. I am going to, after this purple row is finished, it's almost done, then I'm going to repeat this multi-blue, this green, and then this plain blue, and then it'll be finished. So I'm just a hair over halfway done. I like it. And as I said, Cappy at the Yarn and I, she has an Etsy shop. She was having a sale on some things, and so I ordered that skein of yarn that I knit my shoreline top with. And I ordered some minis from her, and look what they came in, this cute little coffee bag look. I thought it was really clever and very cute. And there's so many pretty minis in here. It was a grab bag, I think she called it a dishpan grab bag mini, and look at all the pretty colors she sent. Aren't those gorgeous? I can't wait to use them. Thanks, Cappy. I love your grab bags. So I think that's it for this podcast. Really appreciate you watching. There will be a off the porch segment with some pretty tame stuff. I have been thrilled to watch our 3 ducks. They're so entertaining right now. They're just they're so fun to me. They're so different from chickens. So it's been fun watching their behavior. So there'll be some video of them. Other than that, we haven't seen too much around the house, few deer here and there. We're still watching for some brand new baby deer, some little fawns, which we have not seen yet, but they should be coming any day. We should be seeing them. So hopefully we will. Anyway, I really appreciate you watching. If you want to leave a comment, please do so. I hope the weather is nice wherever you are, and that you're having a great day for crafting whatever you craft. Thanks for watching, and as usual, goodbye from Montana. These are just some of the spring flowers we've seen on our property. A pair of tree swallows moved in to the bluebird nesting box we put up, but that's all right. They share the exact same size hole in their nesting boxes. And we've been visited by a pair of black and white rabbits recently. And a neighbor of ours brought his 5 horses over to help keep our grass down.